Okay, let's get started. We'll start with the Manglacharan. Namo Ariyantaram, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vajjayanam, Namo Loe Savvasahunam, Eso Panchanamukaro, Savva Pava Panasano, Manglarancha Savvesim, Paramam Havai Mangalam, Ragadvesha Vijetaram, Gnataram, Visvavastuna, Sakra Pujya Giramesam, Tirtesham, Srutimanae, Pannagecha, Surendracha, Kausike Pada Sanskruse, Nirvishesha Manaskaya, Shri Veera Swamine Namaha. So thank you, everyone. So today is our sixth session of Tirthankar Charitra. So in this session, we will continue with our discussion of Bhagwan Rishabhdev's Jivan Charitra, and we'll also continue with our discussion of the Adholok we were discussing in our last session. So I think before we get started, we all know the structure of the Chaud Rajlok, right? We have been repeating this for several classes now. So we know the Chaud Rajlok is divided into three sections. There is Urdhva Lok, there is Madhyalok, and then there is a Tirchalok. And the Urdhva Lok is, we all know it's 7 Rajju in height. The Madhyalok is also known as Tirchalok. It's 1800 yojans. And the Adholok is again 7 Rajju in height. So I think everyone should have memorized this by now. The Urdhvalok, we saw on the top of the Urdhvalok, there is Moksha, there is Siddhasila, and that is 45 lakh yojans in diameter. And below the Moksha, you have got 5 Anuttar Vimans. And below the 5 Anuttar Vimans, you have got 9 Gravyaks. And below the 9 Gravyaks, you have got 12 Vaimanik Devloks. So from this Avsarpini Kal, you can only go up till the 4th Devlok. The 4th Devlok, the name of the 4th Devlok is Mahendra Devlok. We cannot go above the 4th Devlok from this 5th ara of this Avsarpini. And the last class, we were also discussing the Madhyalok, and we saw the Madhyalok is where we live and where all the 63 Salaka Purush are born in this Madhyalok. And Madhyalok is the only place from which we can go to the Siddhasila and we can go to the Moksha. So in center of this Madhyalok is Meru Parvat, and we saw the Meru Parvat is 1 lakh yojan in height. It is 99,000 yojans above the surface of the Swayambhudal Bhumi, and it's 1,000 yojans below the surface of the Swayambhudal Bhumi. And the Madhyalok, we know it extends 900 yojans above the surface and 900 yojans below. So 900 yojans above the Swayambhudal Bhumi, you have got all the Jyotish Devtas. So inside the Adidvip, now surrounding the Meru Parvat, you will have Asankhya, that is countless dweeps and samudras. But the first 2.5 dweeps and samudras, they are known as Adidvip. And there are 132 suns, that is Suryas, and 132 moons that revolve around the Meru Parvat in the Adidvip. And these are all known as Char Devtas, that is mobile Devtas. And after the Adidvip, you have got Asankhya, Dvips and Samudras, but all the suns and moons, they are all stationary and they are known as Achar Jyotish Devtas. And below the Swayambhudal Bhumi, you have got the Nivasthan or the places where Vyantar Devtas, Vyan Vyantar Devtas and Tiryak Grumbak Devtas, they live. And in the last class, we were seeing about the Adholok. Now, Adholok, we saw there are 25 types of Bhuvanpati Devtas and there are 7 Narkavas. So last class, we were discussing about the 7 Narkavas. In this class, we'll continue with our discussion about the 7 Narkis. And so this is very important part of Jeev Vichar. I think you should all memorize this. You know, there are 535 classifications of Panchindriya Jeevs. And first few classes we saw there are 198 types of Devtas. In last class, we also saw there are 14 types of Jeevs of Narki. So we'll just briefly revise what we discussed in our last class, and then we'll talk further about the Jeevs of Narkis. So we saw there are 7 Narkavas from Ratna Prabha to Mahatam Prabha. And we saw the pain, the sufferings, the torture, everything increases as you go down to the 7th Narkavas. Now in our Shastra, there is a name for the Jeevs for each Narkavas. So Jeevs that are born in Ratna Prabha, they are known as Dhamma, and so on and so forth. And the Jeevs, they are born in Mahatam Prabha, they are known as Magvati. Now, like the Jeevs of the Devgati, all the Jeevs of the Narkis, they have got Vaikriya Sarir. So they are for the first Antar Murat, 48 minutes, they are all Aparyapt. And after the Antar Murat, they all become Paryapt. And the minimum Ayushya of Jeevs of Narki is 10,000 years. That means all the Jews will become Paryapt after the first Antarmurat. Now, one thing to remember is the Jews of the Devlok and the Jews of the Narki, they do not die in the Aparyapt Avastha. They always complete all the 6 Paryaptis and they all become Paryapt. And the Jews of human and Tiryanch, we can die in the Aparyapt Avastha. So that is a difference between humans and Jews of Narak and Devlok. So last class we were seeing some of the structures of the 7 Narkavas, and we saw that the thickness of the Narkavas, it decreases as you go down. So the first Ratnaprabha Narak is the thickest, and the thickness goes on decreasing. But the width of the Narkavas, they keep on increasing as you go down. So our Shastra gives the thickness and the width of the 7 Narkavas. So we saw that Ratnaprabha Narki is 180,000 yojans thick and is 1 Rajju in its diameter. It's in form of a circular shape, so it's form of a valay. Therefore, it's 1 Rajju in diameter. And if you go down to Mahatam Prabha, the thickness decreases to 108,000 yojans and the width increases to 7 Rajju. So we saw in our last class the structure of the 7 Narkavas. So basically you have got the Bhumi of the Narak, and this Bhumi of Narak is supported by 4 layers. So the first layer, it is supported by Ganodadi Valai, that is thick water. Then below Ganodadi Valai, there is Ganvat, that is thick air. Below Ganvat, there is Tanvat, that is thin air. And below Tanvat, there is Akash. And below Akash, you will have the second Narkavas. So this repeats for all the 7 Narkavas. And we saw the thickness of Ganonadi Valai is 20,000 yojans, and the thickness of Ganvat, Tanvat, and Akash is Asankhya yojans. And all these are in the form of Valai, that is circular shape, and therefore it is known as Ganonadi Valai, Ganvat Valai, Tanvat Valai, and Akash. So last class, we were seeing that the height of the Jeeves of Narki increases as you go down. So the first Narak, the height is around 7 Dhanush, and this height increases to 500 Dhanush as you go to the 7th Narkavas. And we were also seeing the Ayushya. So minimum Ayushya, it is 10,000 years in the first Narkavas, and it goes on increasing to 33 Sagaropams in the 7th Narkavas. So everything increases as you go down, the pain, the height, and the Ayushya. So in this class, we'll continue with our discussion about the Parmadhamis. We'll mostly talk about the Parmadhami Devtas. We'll talk about, what are the 15 types of Parmadhami Devtas, what kind of pain and torture they inflict on the Jeeves of Narkis. And we'll also see what happens to the Parmadhami Devtas after they die. So we'll talk about lots of things about the Parmadhami Devtas. So we know that all these Parmadhami Devtas, they live in the first Narkavas, that is Ratnaprabha Bhumi. And we know that the first Ratnaprabha Narak is 180,000 yojans, and is divided into 12 sections. So 12 sections are 12 antras, and between the antras, there are layer known as pratars. So each antra is around 11,583 yojans, and each pratar is 3,000 yojans. So in the last class, we were seeing the very detailed structure of the first Narkavas. I'll just briefly go over that. Let me use the laser pointer. So we saw that there is a Meru Parvat, and below the Meru Parvat, there is a Sunya Pind. Sunya Pind is empty space for 10 yojans. And below Sunya Pind is a Vyanvantar Devta up till 80 yojans. After Vyanvantar Devtas, again, there is Sunya Pind. Then there is a Vyantar Devta Nikai for 800 yojans. Again, there is Sunya Pind. Then there is Samanik Pratar. Again, there is Sunya Pind. So the first Narak Pratar starts from here. So first Narak Pratar is where the Jeeves of Narki, they live. Then there is a Nikai for Asur Nikais. Then there is a second Narak Pratar. There is a Nikai for Nag Kumar Devtas. Then there is another Narak Pratar. Then there is a Nikai for Suvarna Kumar Devtas, another Pratar. Nikai for Vidyut Kumar Devtas, another Pratar. Nikai for Agni Kumar Devtas, another Pratar. Nikai for Dvip Kumar Devtas, then another Narak Pratar. Udati Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar. Dishi Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar. Vayu Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar. Stanit Kumar Devta, Narak Pratar, Sunya Pind, Narak Pratar. Again, there is Sunya Pind for 1000 yojans. And below that, as we saw, there is Ganvat Valai, then there is, there is Ganodati Valai, then there is Ganvat Valai, and there is Tanvat Valai. So this is the cross section of the first Bhumi of first Narkavas. And we saw that depending on where you are born in the first Narkavas, so there is a 13 different pratars you can be born in the just first Narkavas. If you are born in the first pratar, then you have got the least Ayushya, that is from 10,000 years to 90,000 years. But the Ayushya and the Dukh, everything goes on increasing as you go down from first to the 13th pratar. So just within the first Narkavas, there are 13 different bhumis where a Jeev can be born. And the Ayushya and the pain goes on increasing within the each pratars as you go down. So this was something we discussed in our last class. And we saw that the Jeevs of Narki, they suffer from 3 types of pain. We saw that last class, we saw there are Kshetragna pain, that is environmental and geographical conditions. Then in this class, we'll discuss about the Parmadhami Krut pain. And we also talked about the Anya Krut pain. So in the Tattvad Sutra, as we discussed in our last class, we saw that there are 10 types of pain because of the Kshetra or because of the geography. And we saw there is a pain of hunger, there is a pain of thirst, there is a pain of cold climatic conditions, hot climatic conditions, then there is a pain of fever or diseases. And we saw the Jeeves of the 7th Narki, they have got 5 crore 68 lakhs 99,584 diseases all the time. Now, all these pains, they go on increasing from the 1st to 7th Narak. Then another 6th type of pain was the pain of burning sensation from both inside and outside the body, the pain of itching, then pain of bonded slavery, pain of fear, and pain of sorrow. So these are 10 types of pain that are known as Kshetragnya pain. Then in the last class, we also talked about the Anyakrut pain, and we saw that the Jeeves of Narkis, they are born with a sense of revenge. So they have got Asub Lesha, they are born with, and because of that, whenever they see another Jeev of Narki, they have got a sense of revenge. And they try to fight against the other Jeeves of Narki, and they inflict pain on each other. It's almost like slaughterhouses. So that is known as Anyakrut pain. So in this class, we'll talk about the 15 types of Parmadhamis and the type of pain they inflict. So hopefully you won't get scared by listening to all the pains, but I think it's better to know all the types of pains. So we at least try to, reduce the pap karma in our jivan. So one thing to remember is the Parmadhami Krut pain is only up till the 3rd Narak. So below the 3rd Narak, there is no Parmadhami Krut pain. There is only Kshetrakriya and Anyakrut pain. From the 4th to 7th Narak, the Parmadhamis do not travel. But the Kshetragna pain itself is so high that Parmadhami does not have to basically travel. The pain itself is very, very high because of the environmental conditions. So let's see the 15 types of Parmadhamis. So some of the Parmadhamis, they work in pairs, and some of the Parmadhamis, they work individually. So there is and Ambarish, Shyam, Shabal, Rudra, Uparudra, Kal, Mahakal. So these are the Parmadhamis, they always work in pairs. Then there are some Parmadhamis, they work individually. So first category of Parmadhami is known as Amba category of Parmadhamis. So what does category of Parmadhami they do? So they create terror and fear by playing games with the Jeeves of Narkis. So they make the Jeeves of Narkis, they make the Jeeves of Narki run here and there. And then they catch these Jeeves of Narkis, they take them up in the sky and they throw them with the head facing downwards. And when these Jeeves of Narki are falling down on the ground, they smash their head with various weapons like spears and gada. So that is the category of Parmadhami. Now, they always work with Ambarish category of Parmadhami. The Ambarish category of Parmadhami, when these Jeeves of Narki, they fall down onto the floor of the Narak, they will catch them. And these Jeeves of Narkis are almost like murchit or unconscious, and they will cut them into various small pieces like vegetables. So that is Ambarish category of Parmadhami. Then next category of Parmadhami are Shyam and Sabal. So Shyam category of Parmadhami, they basically pierce the organs, limbs, they hit the jeeves of Narkis with the whips, and they crush the jeeves of Narki with the legs. And the Shabal category of Parmadhami are even more cruel. They basically cut the organs like heart, stomach, pull out the intestines, and show to the jeeves of Narkis. So that is the Shabal category of Parmadhamis. Then there is another category of Parmadhami known as Rudra and Uprudra category of Parmadhami. So the Rudra category of Parmadhami, they basically pierce the jeeves of Narkis with various weapons like swords, spears, dants, tridents, and then they throw them in the fire. And Uprudra category of Parmadhami, they are even more cruel than Rudra category of Parmadhami. They basically cut the jeeves of Narkis into smaller pieces, inflicting a very severe pains. Then there is another pair of Parmadhamis known as Kal and Mahakal category of Parmadhamis. The Kal category of Parmadhamis, they basically cook the jeeves of Narkis in hot vessels like fishes. And Mahakal category of Parmadhamis, they cut the jeeves of Narkis into small pieces and arrange them like a tail of a lion. And then they make the jeeves of Narki eat their own flesh. So these are all the Parmadhamis who work in pairs. Now there are some of the Parmadhamis, they work individually. And the first is Asi Parmadhami. So Asi means sword. So Asi Parmadhamis, they use sword to basically cut the head, legs, organs, and so on and so forth, and inflict pain on Narkis. The next is Patradhanu category of Parmadhamis. The Patradhanu category of Parmadhamis, they are very smart. What they do is they create an illusion of a forest. And when these jeeves or Narkis, they try to find the relief. And when they see the forest, they will enter the forest. And this Patradhanu Parmadhamis, they blow the wind. And the trees in this forest, their leaves are as sharp as weapons. And these leaves, they fall on the jeeves of Narkis and they cut the limbs, ears, nose, and so on and so forth, and various organs. So that is Patradhanu category of Parmadhamis. The next is Kumbh category of Parmadhamis. Kumbh, they basically fry the jeev of Narkis in the boiling oil in various vessels like known as Kumbhi, Pachnak, and Tuntak. So that is the names of the vessels they use to boil the jeeves of Narkis. Then there is Valuka Parmadhamis. The Valuka Parmadhamis, they roast the jeev of Narkis like in the hot sand or hot bakeries. Then Vaitrani category of Parmadhamis, again, they are very smart. What they do is they create an illusion of a Vaitrani Nadi or Vaitrani lake. And this lake is made up of hot lava and it's extremely bad smells with hair, blood, and so on and so forth. And they drown the jeeves of Narkis in this Vaitrani Nadi. Then there is Kharashwar Parmadhamis. The Kharashwar Parmadhamis are very cruel. They basically make the jeeves of Narkis scratch the skins of each other by using axes. And they themselves also mercilessly use the saws like the carpenter is using the wood on the jeeves of Narkis. They also make the jeeves of Narkis climb a dangerous and extremely sharp thorn-full trees known as Shalmali trees. So that is Kharaswar Parmadhamis. And the last Parmadhami is Mahaghosh Parmadhamis. The Mahaghosh Parmadhamis, they frighten the jeeves of Narkis by making loud noise. And the Narki jeeves, they run here and there. They catch these Narki jeeves and they in a place that is known as Vadsthan, and they slaughter the jeeves of Narkis at the Vadsthan. So these are the various tortures that the 15 types of Parmadhamis, they inflict on the jeeves of Narkis. I know it is very good description, but this is what is given in our Shastra. So let's think what happens when a jeev is born in the Narak. So as we discussed that the Parmadhamis only inflict the pain up till the third Narak. So when the jeev is born in the Narak, they are born in a place known as Kumbhi. This Kumbhi it has got large stomach and it has got very small openings on the top. So for the first 48 minutes, these jeeves are aparyapt. And after 48 minutes, they complete all the 6 paryaptis. And like the devs in the Devlok, they become a full adult. So after 48 minutes, they grow to be a full adult. So as soon as the jeeves of Narkis are born, the and Ambarish category of Parmadhamis, they come running. And they basically shout saying that kill this papi and impose torture on the jeeves of Narki. So they basically cut the jeeves of Narkis into various small pieces, and then they take this jeeves of Narki out of the kumbhi. So after that, once they take the jeeves of the Narki out of the kumbhi, the category of Parmadhamis, they hang this jeev on a pillar. It is kind of a pillar, and then they smash this jeev of Narki with various weapons. And then, as we discussed, the category of Parmadhami, they take them high up in the sky and then throw them downwards with their heads facing downwards. And after that, the Ambarish category of Parmadhami, they come and they cut the jeeves of Narkis into various small pieces. After that, the Sham and Shabal category of Parmadhamis, they come and they basically cut the ears, hands, legs, and various organs. They burn the chest, they cut the nose and sprinkle the salt on the wounds. The Kal and Mahakal category of Parmadhamis, they make the jeeves of Narkis eat rotten and degraded meats of the animals. And these jeeves of Narkis, they are extreme pain and they continuously look for the shelter, but they are unable to get any shelter. Now, one thing to remember is, all these jeeves of Narkis, they have got Vaikriya Sarir. So even though their body is torn apart, they again join back in the form of mercury. So if you have seen mercury, right, if you have two pieces of mercury, you will see they slowly joining together. So similarly, their body, the jeeves of Narkis, they come back and join together. And even though they wish to die, they are unable to die because of their Asub Ayushya karma. Until their Ayushya is finished, they do not die. So the Kumbh category of Parmadhami, we saw they basically boil the jeeves of Narkis in the boiling oil. And Valuka Parmadhamis, they basically roast the jeeves of Narkis like the way we roast like gram and peanuts. And the Vaitrani category of Parmadhamis, we saw they make the Vaitrani Nadi. So what they do is they make the jeeves of Narkis sit on a red hot iron boat. And then they basically drown these jeeves of Narkis in this Vaitrani Nadi. And the Kharashwar Parmadhami, they basically scratch out the skins of this Narki jeeves like a wood with a saw. So, the Parmadhamis, what they do is they basically remind the jeeves of Narkis of the pap they have committed in the previous bhav. And the Mahaghosh category of Parmadhamis, they basically remind the jeeves of Narki. So for example, they say to the jeeves of Narkis that you have in the previous bhav, you ate meat or non-vegetarian food, you did ratri bhojan, you drank alcohol, you did abhaksha, and so on and so forth. And what they do is they fill the mouth of the jeeves of Narkis with various ants, scorpions, and snakes and stitch the mouth. That is what the Mahaghosh Parmadhamis they do after reminding the jeeves of Narkis. They also remind the jeeves of Narkis of various other paps, like having relations outside the marriage and so on and so forth. And they tie the jeev of Narkis with the red hot copper dolls. So that is all Mahaghosh category of Parmadhami. So in short, the jeeves of Narki, they do not have a single breath of relief. And day and night, they have sufferings. They are either cut, smashed, roasted, broken down, melted, so on and so forth. And they have extremely long Ayushya and they suffer from this for extremely long Ayushya. So we saw in the last class, the only time the jeeves of Narkis, they have got sukh is during the Panch Kalyanaks of Tirthankar Paramatma. So whenever there is a five Kalyanaks of Tirthankar Paramatma, there is a only time unko Anand ki anubhuti hoti hai. Apart from that, they are always in pain and sorrow. So now let's see what happens to Parmadhamis themselves after they die. So our Shastra gives a very detailed explanations on what happens to Parmadhami after they die. So there is an island or a dweep that is situated 55 yojans in the southern part of Jambudweep. It is 55 yojans from a place known as Jaktani Vedika. And it's the south of the Jambudweep. And on this island, there are 47 types of caves. And these caves are extremely dark, and it is a very, very dangerous place. This place is around 12.5 yojans, and it is just near the sea, being an island, and the height of the sea level is 3.5 yojans. And on this island, there are the human beings that are born that are known as waterborne human beings. That means they are born, their ability to go under the sea, and they are waterborne human beings. And these human beings are extremely strong. They are of first Sangayan, and they are alcoholic, they are non-vegetarian, and they are of dark complexion. And these human beings are known as Angolic human beings. So these Angolic human beings are extremely scary, extremely dreadful. And all the Parmadhamis, all the 15 types of Parmadhamis, when they die, they are born as these Angolic human beings. And these Angolic human beings have 12.5 hath height. So their height is 12 and a half feet. So these Angolic human beings, their body is wrapped with a tail hair of a cow and tied to the ears. And this is done by the traders of the precious stone. So when they enter the water to collect the precious stones, the various animals like whales or crocodiles, they do not harm these Angolic human beings. So just near this island, there is another island where it is known as Ratna Island, where the traders of the precious stones, they live, and it is in the Lavan Samudra. And what these traders of the precious stone, they do is they fill the boats or the vessels with alcohol, meat, honey, and butter, and they take these vessels into the sea near the place where the Angolic Manusya or Angolic human beings are staying. So as soon as the Angolic human beings, they see these vessels coming, they run to kill the traders. But traders are very, very smart. So they take these vessels far into the sea, and they keep these vessels at various distances. So as soon as the Angolic human beings, they enter these vessels, they close the vessels from outside. And these vessels are made up of rocks. So the Angolic human beings, they cannot come out of these vessels. So for 10 days, these Angolic human beings, they eat the food, the alcohol, the food, the meat, the butter, and so on and so forth. And in these 10 days, the traders, they go back and they come back with the full armory to make sure that none of the Angolic human beings is able to escape. It is said that if even single Angolic human being is able to escape, they are so strong that they can kill all the traders. So one Angolic human being can kill all the traders. So they have to make sure that none of the Angolic human beings, they come out of the vessel. Now they close this vessel, and after that they start the machinery. So this vessel is made up of grinding machinery. So they start this grinding machinery, and the Angolic human beings, their body is slowly grinded by this grinding machinery. But the Angolic human beings are so strong that it takes 1 year for their body to be crushed. Because of the first Sangayan, they are so strong. So for 1 year, they experience the prolonged pain of grinding. And after that, their body is completely grinded as a powder. And then these traders open the doors, they throw out the powder and collect the ratnas or the precious stones that the Angolic human being has collected. So this is how the jeeves of Angolic human beings, they die after 1 year of prolonged pain of grinding. And after they die, they are all born as in the Narak. So Parmadhamis, they are born as Angolic human beings, and after they die, very painful death, they die in very Asubhlesha, in Rautradhyan, and they are born themselves as the jeeves of Narkis. So this is what happens to the Parmadhami Devtas of Narkis. So last class, we had a question that why does Parmadhami, they enjoy giving torture, right? That is a very important question that I think one of our students asked. that why do Parmadhamis give torture to the Jews of Narkis, and why do they enjoy, or why do they get the pleasure? So in the last class, we saw that this is all because of the Papanubandhi Punya. So if you are if a Jew does a Papanubandhi Punya, they are born as a Parmadhami Devta. So what is Papanubandhi Punya? Right, that is an important question. I don't know if anyone knows the four types of uh, karmas: the Papanubandhi Pap, Papanubandhi Punya, Punyanubandhi Pap, or Punyanubandhi Punya. Does anyone know?
Yeah, I know Tirthankar.
Can you explain?
Yeah, so the Papanubandhi Punya is while you enjoy the fruits of Punya, you get Pap. Punyanubandhi Punya is while enjoying the fruits of Punya, you get more Punya. Punyanubandhi Pap is while you're suffering the consequences of bad karma, you gain Punya. And Papanubandhi Pap is while suffering the consequences of bad karma, you get more bad karma.
Yeah, that is exactly right. Samar, can you give an example?
So okay, we'll do Papanubandhi Pap. Let's say so in Narak, it's isn't that how it is all the time? Or yeah, isn't that how it is in Narak? It's you're suffering Pap, and you have that feeling of revenge, so you're getting more Pap.
Okay.
And then Punyanubandhi Punya. Let's just say you get really tasty food, but I don't know, you don't feel greed. You have a very neutral emotion toward it, so you get more punya because of that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then punya no bandi pap. While you're suffering pap, you realize it's a consequence of your unwholesome karma, and that's the way you gain punya out of it.
Yeah.
And then papa no bandi punya, which is actually the most common. While you're enjoying punya, you feel ego, you feel all the incorrect passions, and that's how you get more pap.
Right. Right. So yeah, that is very good. Yeah. So one thing that Samar mentioned, right, is Papanubandhi Pap. So the Jeeves of Narkis, they usually have Papanubandhi Pap, but not always. If it is Samyak Drashti Jeev in the Narak, then उनको पुण्य का ही अनुबंध होता है. So it is a Punyanubandhi Pap if it is a Samyak Drashti Jeev. Like Shrenik Maharaja is in Narak, or Vasudev Sri Krishna is in Narak. So for them, they are having pain, but their thinking is always Subh. So if it is but yeah, in general, if it is a Mithya Drashti Jeev who has gone to Narak, they always do Papanubandhi Pap. So, simple example, we were talking last time, who becomes a Parmadhami, right? So in Bhagwan Mahavir's time, we talked, there are these tapas, right, who does this yagna. And in this yagna, they do bali of animals. They even kill the Panchindriya animals, and they even kill, Manusha ki bali dete, they even kill human beings. And they are doing this yagna, they are doing this tapasya. Along with yagna, they do very, very ghor tapasya. But at the same time, they are also doing the hinsa of Panchindriya Jeev, like Hasti Tapas. The Hasti Tapas, they kill the elephants during the yagna. So such type of human beings, they are born as Parmadhamis because of their punya, Papanubandhi punya. So simple example I usually give to everyone to understand this is the food. As Samar was talking about the food, you can use the food example to understand all the four types of karma. So for example, let's say you have got meat, right? If a person is eating a meat and at the same time is enjoying the meat, so that means papanu bandi pap, right? He's eating the meat, so वो पाप कर रहा है द्रव्य से, और उसका अनुबंध भी पाप का हो रहा है क्योंकि उसके भाव अशुभ है. अनुबंध is always related to your thinking and your bhav. So that means you are enjoying eating the meat. A person is enjoying eating the meat. That means papanubandhi pap. Now let's say second example. There is meat, right? A person is eating a meat, but then at the same time he is repenting, and he is thinking that this is wrong. I should not eat meat. So वो क्या हुआ, पुण्यानुबंधी पाप. वो पाप तो कर रहा है पर उसका अनुबंध उसको पुण्य से हो रहा है, क्योंकि उसको ही इज रिग्रेटिंग, उसके आंख में आंसू है, तो वो हुआ पुण्यानुबंधी पाप. फिर then third category is papanubandhi punya, a person who is not eating meat, right? because of his health reasons or whatever. But in his mind, he wants to eat meat. So he's thinking that I wish I had a good body or I had a good health so I can eat meat. Unfortunately, I am not able to eat meat. तो वो और खराब हुआ. Even though he is not eating, पर उसका अनुबंध पाप का हो रहा है. That is पापानुबंधी पुण्य. And such jeeves can be born as a parmadhami. Even though they are doing the kriya of punya because they are not eating meat, पर उनका अनुबंध पाप का हो रहा है because they are regretting it. And last is punya kabandi punya, jeeves like us, who do not eat meat, and at the same time, we think that is a right thing to do. So we are in subhav. So that is punyanu punya. So that is a very simple example to understand what is papanubandhi punya. So papanubandhi punya is very very bad because तुम्हारे उसमें भाव तुम्हारे अशुभ होते हैं और even though you are doing punya kriya तुमके अनुबंध तुमको पाप का होता है, and such jeeves are born as parmadhamis. Okay, so I think that hopefully explains.